Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we ended here last week. Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 11. In the sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Allarka, Prahlada, and others. Yadu, Hayaya. Okay. So this incarnation is Lord Dattatreya. So like this, we will quickly kind of go through the different incarnations of the Lord. There's going to be some level of description. I'm not going to be able to give too much info because I myself don't know a lot about these different avatars. We know about the primary avatars, but about the avatars given right here, not too much details are widely known. So I will just adhere to whatever is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam verses, and we'll go with that. What I am personally looking forward to is the verse which glorifies Krishna as the original personality of Godhead. That he's not an avatar, but he is from whom all the avatars are coming from. That's the purpose of showcasing the different kinds of avatars. Do we have anyone who wants to read the Sanskrit? Tataha saptama akutyam rucheryagyo bhayajayata sa yamataya suraganir apat swayam bhuvantaram. The seventh incarnation was Yagya, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. So this is the father of Yamaraj. He's the seventh incarnation and he's Yagya. And he's a son of Prajapati Ruchi and his mother is Akuti. Then comes Ashtame Merudivyam tu Nabherjata Urukramaha Darshayan Vartama Dhiranam Sarvashrama Namaskritam. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. So Rishabdev is an incarnation of the Lord, and he's famous for having a lot of children, of which 9 children are pure devotees, the Navayogendras. Now, if you see Rishabdev, it also goes to prove another point. Hinduism is generally seen as a religion that promotes casteism, right? Caste by birth, which is not true. It was propagated by the British. In Rishabdev's case, when you see him having children, you can see his children having different castes, although they're born from the same father, because psychophysically they're different, they have different castes. And that again goes to prove the point that in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Krishna talks about Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. That caste system is not by birth, by Guna and Karma. We'll quickly kind of peruse through Srila Prabhupada's purport. The society of human beings is naturally divided into 8 by order and status of life. the 4 divisions of occupation and 4 divisions of cultural advancement. The intelligent class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the laborer class are the 4 divisions of occupation. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. The student life, householder life, retired life, and renounced life. So Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. 4 statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of spiritual realization. Out of these, the renounced order of life, or the order of sannyas, is considered the highest of all. And a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master of all the orders and divisions. In the sannyas order also, there are 4 stages of upliftment towards perfection. These stages are called Kutikaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajaka Acharya, and Paramahamsa. The Paramahamsa stage of life is a highest stage of perfection. So within sannyasa, there are different orders, Paramahamsa being the highest. Now, there are certain people who are self-proclaimed Paramahamsa. Please don't, get into that kind of thing. But this is dealing with Paramahamsa as in those who are the highest level of sannyas order, not self-proclaimed gurus and whatnot, who are not in any disciplic succession whatsoever. The Paramahamsa stage of life is the highest stage of perfection. This order of life is respected by all others. Maharaj Rishabh, the son of King Nabhi and Meru Devi, was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. So Rishabdev, as an empowered incarnation of the Lord, instructed his kids to follow certain level of tapasya. So anything we do requires tapasya. Whether we want to start a business, whether we want to build a non-profit, it requires certain level of sacrifice. Same way, spiritual enhancement also requires sacrifice. And in that sacrifice mode, what we do in Kali Yuga, we have very little sacrifice that's given. We sacrifice our time for Krishna. And in that time, we are using that for chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, doing some worship, doing some seva, doing cooking bhoga for Krishna. So that's what we are doing, offering. Basically, we are using our time as a sacrifice, our love as an offering, and our intent that Krishna, I want you. That is the price we are paying for bhakti, right? It's not a lot of price to pay, because for anything material, we have a lot more price to pay. But this is what we are paying as our spiritual growth grows, as we grow in our spiritual life. So Rishabdev is instructing his children to do tapasya and voluntarily take the path of penance and abstinence from material pleasures. Those who have been trained for abstinence in material pleasure are called dhira, or men undisturbed by the senses. Dhira means those who are undisturbed. Adhira means those who are disturbed. Those are easily chanchala. Only those dhiras can accept the order of sannyas. And they can gradually rise to the status of Paramahamsa, which is adored by all members of society. King Rishabh propagated this mission and at the last stage, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage, not to be imitated by foolish men, but to be worshipped by all. So we don't imitate the Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead or his incarnations. We follow. I was basically at a party, and these people, obviously, when I'm there, somehow talks about Krishna consciousness start, and because they're my friends, they have no reverence. So they will talk about Krishna. He had 16,108 wives. Yes, he also was able to lift Govardhan Hill. Why can't I have 16? I'm like, why don't you try and have one wife who's satisfied by you, right? What to speak of 16? Krishna was personally present with all 16,108 wives in their palaces. All of them have their maidservants. They had gold, jewelry, everything that they could ask for and more. And more importantly, Krishna was with them simultaneously at all times. Try that. So often what happens, people who are not very advanced in their knowledge about spirituality try comparing and start copying the Supreme Lord, right? Not realizing that this is not the right thing to do, because if you really have to copy it, if you want to copy Lord Shiva and have ganja, then why don't you try drinking some poison, and hold it in your throat? Let's see how you do that, right? A lot of Shiv bhaktas were like, our God, he takes ganja, so we do. God bless you. Why don't you, if you want to copy him, then you should copy in every single aspect. But we can't, because these personalities are not common beings. So it's important we follow their instructions. And thankfully for Krishna, he has given the Bhagavad Gita, where his instructions are beautifully encoded. And that's what we follow. We don't imitate. So imitation should not be our path. Anukaran and Anusharan, these are two different things. Anukaran means to imitate, Anusharan means to follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 1.3.14. Rishabhir yachito bheje navamam parthivam vapuho dugdhimam usadhir vipras tenayam sa usattamaha. Translation. O Brahmanas, in the 9th incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce. And for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive. From our disciplic succession, what I have heard about King Prithu, again, I know very little about him. We will learn about him in Srimad Bhagavatam in details. But for now, what I've heard about him, he is the empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the form of management power, right? He is excellent in his management powers. So if you want to learn about management, rather than reading various management gurus and books and whatnot, we can read Prithu Maharaj's life and from Srimad Bhagavatam, and that would have tremendous aspect in insights into how we manage our life, our company, our organizations. All right. Text 15. Rupam sa jagrahe matsyam chakshu so dadhi samplave navi aropya mahimayam apad vaivasvatam manum. When there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him on a boat. Keshava Dhrita Matsa Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So Matsa Avatar is not from this Satya as you're hearing here, Chakshusha Manu. So we are in a different era, in a different period of a different Manu. So there are different Manus in different Manvantar periods, which is, I think, 72 yoga cycles, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. Every 72 yoga cycles is given for different Manus. So in this Manvantar period, in the Satya Yoga, we had Varahadev, right? So when you hear any Vedic yajna happening, you will hear the name of this current Manu's name being mentioned, Shweta Varaha or Rakta Varaha being mentioned, Bharat Bhumi, this Khande, like that. It is described like what time, what place are we doing this yajna. So at that point, we talk about which Manu period we are in which Kalpa, in which Kali Yuga we are in which part of the world we are in. So if you're in Bharat Bhumi, then in Bharat Bhumi, if we are in somewhere else, right? So like that. So there are many yoga cycles. So Matsya Avatar did not come in this yoga cycle. He came, in fact, in a different Manvantar period altogether. And that has been mentioned here. Sorry to bore you with the details. Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 16. Sura Suranam udahdim mat matnatam mandarachalam dadre kamatha rupena prishtha ekadashe vibhu. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise whose shell served as a pivot from the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod for the theists and the atheists of the universe. So when the Samudra Manthan was happening, there was a, should I say fulcrum? Not fulcrum. There was a, like on what do you churn the milk ocean? The milk ocean was being churned by the mountain. The mountain is called Mandarachala Hill. That was the churning rod. But the churning rod needed something on which it could turn easily. And that's where the tortoise incarnation of the Lord, Kurmadev, Kurmakshetra, Kurmadev. So that incarnation is being talked about. So if you see here, we are talking about multiple avatars, but now we are also getting into the avatars who are the primary avatars. Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, right? Varaha avatar, like that. The primary avatar, the 10 avatars, das avatars as we know it. But Bhagavatam is giving us all the avatars according to chronology. So 11th incarnation, according to this chronology, is 11th incarnation is Kurma avatar, who was a pivot for the Samudra Manthan process. By the way, at the same time, there was also Ajita, who was another incarnation of the Lord, who was present. Dhanvantaram Dvadasa Maha Trayo Dasamam Evacha Apyayat Suran Anyayan Mohinya Mohayan Striya. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari. So he came out of the Samudra Manthan, right? And in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. So recently, some of us went to South India in Karnataka for Yatra. And there we went to, what was that temple? What dynasty? The very intricate. Huh? Sorry?
Melkote?
It was not in Melkote. It was Bellavari. And it was Hoysala dynasty. The Hoysala dynasty had a very beautiful temple. And in that temple, initially we didn't notice, but then when we got guidance, we got to see this was Krishna in his Mohini Roop form. Krishna was actually wearing, nose ring and earrings and belt, like women wear, all women jewelry he was wearing. And we looked closely and was like, oh my God, that's Krishna in woman jewelry and woman clothes. So that was Krishna in his form as Mohini Murti. So as the milk ocean was being churned, many things came out, right? Lakshmi Devi came out, nectar came out, poison came out. So poison was absorbed by Lord Shiva, right? We'll read all about it, details and details and details. But when the nectar came out, the nectar was, the demigods wanted the nectar, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted the demigods to have the nectar and not the atheists to have the nectar, because the atheists are not dharmic and they should be defeated. If they have the nectar, then it's over. So Krishna, being intelligent and always having his tricks, he decided to lure the atheistic people based on their lusty desires and became a wonderful, beautiful woman. And being, Krishna, when he tries to be a woman, please understand, there is no one more attractive than that. Even as Lord Shiva got attracted to this Mohini Murti form of Krishna, right? Lord Shiva, the all-knowing personality who knows this is Lord Narayan, right? This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And still, he couldn't hold himself to the point I'll not give the details. You'll read about it when it happens. But point is, Lord Shiva got aroused by Mohini Murti. He was so attractive. Krishna's perfect at anything he does, right? He wants to be this Makhan Chor, he can be the best thief. He wants to be a woman, he can be the most attractive woman you can imagine, right? That's who Krishna is. So in this particular context, so as these different things were coming out, one of the aspects was the Amrit, that drinking which you'll become Amar. So the demigods, so Mohini Murti, he was able to kind of lure the demigods to one side, and the other side the demons, and she was pouring in the nectar. And one of the demons realized that, oh, she's only giving the nectar to the demigods, so let me go on their side and have it. And that was Rahu. And that's why Rahu till here. So as soon as the devotees found out that Rahu is on their side and having the nectar, so before he could swallow it, they cut off his head. So the head part of Rahu is still alive, and that's what's understood. If you know astrology, nakshatras and everything, Rahu is still alive and eating the moon. There is some story about that, which you'll read as we go through Bhagavatam. But that's the whole thing. So the nectar was supposed to be given to the demigods and not the demons. And the trick was, when you want a material person to be trapped, use lust. That always works. So that's what was used by the Supreme Lord as well. He used lust to lure in the demons, and he was able to get it through. Only the demigods got the nectar, not the demons, except for Rahu. All right, moving on. Text 18. Do we have anyone who can read? Because my Sanskrit is horrible. Anybody wants to unmute and read?
I'll read.
Please.
Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 18. Chaturdasham Narasimham Vibharatetyendram Urjitam Dadara Karajer Purav Erakam Katakrit Yatha. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane.
Thank you very much. So 14th incarnation, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hari. So Krishna took the form of Narasimha Dev. The Lord appeared. Who's the Lord who appeared? Krishna. Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. Of course, we know great details about this particular pastime, and we will have the great fortune of reading this pastime in months to come. Yes, Pradeep Prabhu.
Probably one small question, that if demigods got the nectar, then how it is that we heard earlier that even Brahma has life. He dies also. So if demigods got nectar, they are alive forever, right?
No, they won't be alive forever. That nobody has access to. They'll be alive only till Brahma is alive, till this universe is there.
Okay.
They can't be defeated, but they will not be alive beyond Brahma's lifetime. I don't know the answer to your question. We will both read when we go to those chapters.
Yes, Raj.
But I honestly, good question, but I don't have the answer for you.
Okay.
But one thing I understand is when Hiranyakashipu wanted to be Amar, Lord Brahma said, I am myself not Amar. I can't give you that Vardhan, right? Because I live only so many years. So yes, demigods do die. They are not Amar forever, but that Amrit gives them some potency. What that is, we will read when we go to that chapter. I don't have that answer for you.
Okay, Raj.
All right. Text 19, somebody wants to read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Should I read?
Panchadasam.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mataji.
No, it's okay, Praveen Prabhu. You said first. Go ahead.
Panchadasam Vamanakam Krutpagad Advaram Bale Padatrayam Yachamanha Pratayadistus Trai Vistapam. Translation. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of Dwarf Brahmana, Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaja Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we, again, most of us know about Bali Maharaj and Vaman Dev. Vaman Dev is a dwarf. Bali Maharaj had conquered the heavens, and by the prayers of Aditi, who's the mother of the demigods, Aditi prayed to the Supreme Lord and said, "My Lord, please bring back my son back to the throne. Please do something." Bali Maharaj is taken over. Bali Maharaj is a devotee. Indra is not a devotee. Indra is a demigod, but Bali Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. But given the structure of the universe, demigods are supposed to rule in heaven and not demons. So by the request of Aditi, the Supreme Lord came as Vaman Dev and very simply asked Bali Maharaj, "You're most generous. You give so much donation to so many brahmanas. I'm a brahmana. Why don't you also give me 3 pieces of land?" And we know after that what happened. Da-di-da-di-da. Point is, this is Krishna glorifying his devotee, and Vaman Dev is still there in Sutala Loka, guarding the palace of Bali Maharaj, which Vaman Dev only created. So Bali Maharaj can rule. He can become the next Brahma, not just Indra. He can become, maybe he's the next Indra. Next Indra. So he had the desire to become Indra. So the Lord will fulfill that desire, but according to the course of nature, which is this Indra must finish his ministry, and once the Prime Minister, Brahma finishes his course, then the next ministry will be formed by whoever the next Brahma is, and that time Indra would be our Bali Maharaj. When I was in Kerala, I was seeing everywhere, because Kerala is Kerala, they had a huge, big belly cartoon character named Mahabali, putting in every store, every restaurant. And it was more like how they make fun of Narad Muni, they were making fun of Bali Maharaj. And I quickly realized, because everywhere it's like Mahabali. I'm like, is this where Bali Maharaj's place is? They said, yes, this is where the pastime happened. And now he has become more of a caricature, or they've created something out of it. But point is, the culture still follows. And Bali Maharaj is a cultural icon in that part of the country, and it is what it is. So these are history. This is not mythology. So as we are going through this, it's very important to understand that there are places, there are pastimes, there are things that happen in time that are inconceivably long, because according to modern science, we think evolution and this, that, and that we have only existed for a couple of million years, but this is not true. We have existed forever, and we don't come from monkeys, we come from Lord Brahma, right? There's evolution of consciousness, there's not evolution of the body. So with that understanding, we are talking about history that is millions and millions of years old, of Bali Maharaj, or Matsya Avatar, or Kurma Avatar, etc. Right? Text 20. Somebody wants to read? Avataresho dashame pasyan brahmadruto nripan tri sapta kritvaha kupito ni shatram akaron mahim. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord, as Bhrigupati, annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times. being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class. So we are hearing about, can anyone guess? Parashuram. Very good. So Parashuram Kshetra is also in Karnataka. Again, we are very fortunate. We went to the place where Parashuram used to reside and everything. So Parashuram is being mentioned as Vrigupati, Keshavadhrita, Vrigup. So, okay, when I'm mentioning this Keshavadhrita thing, this is actually Dashavatar Stotra written by poet Jayadev, I think Jayadev Goswami. So there, the 10 avatars are being described. And again, from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective, not from the typical Hindu perspective where we think Vishnu and avatars, it was Keshavadhrita. So Krishna comes in the form of so-and-so avatar. Krishna expands in the form of so-and-so avatar. So Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa, Keshavadhrita Kurma Sharira, Keshavadhrita Bhrigupati Rupa, right? Keshavadhrita Rama, so like that. And it describes all the 10 avatars. So Vrigupati or Parashuram is one of the 10 avatars being mentioned. And he is known for annihilating the Kshatriya class 21 times over. In fact, just a funny story. Lord Ramachandra's father, what's his name? King Dasharath. King Dasharath was very scared of Parashuram. So Parashuram had one hack. There was a hack. So if you want to protect yourself from Parashuram, get married, right? If you're in the marriage ceremony, Parashuram will not kill you. So every time Parashuram came to attack Dasharath in Ayodhya, Dasharath would instantly sit down for marriage. That's how he has so many wives. Because when he would sit down for marriage, Parashuram would be like, oh, he's getting married. I can't kill him right now in front of his wife. Okay, fine, I'll come back later. And he would come back later. Again, Dasharath would immediately arrange for a marriage ceremony and get married again. That's how he protected himself. Till Lord Ramachandra faced Parashuram face to face. And Parashuram was severely challenged. And he realized, oh, my Lord has come. Okay, time for me to retire. So when he met Lord Ramachandra face to face, when Lord Ramachandra picked up that arrow of Lord Shiva, the bow and arrow, not arrow, the bow of Lord Shiva. That time there was a face-to-face conversation between Parashuram and Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ramachandra was stronger than him, and Parashuram realized this is my time to retire. So he came to Karnataka, where Madhvacharya's hometown is, and we went there on the hilltop, and there he asked the ocean personification of ocean that I need some place to stay. So ocean said, okay, you throw your axe as far as you can till that area would be Parashuram Kshetra. So he threw his axe deep down, and till that area he was having his own place, and he was able to do his later in his life whatever tapasya he had to do.
Prabhuji, does that not cover the entire of Kerala where he threw his axe?
I don't know, Prabhu. I don't know how far he covered the exact, but if you search Parashuram Kshetra, it goes from Karnataka to Kerala. I think you're right, to parts of Kerala and whatnot. You can see the entire map of Parashuram Kshetra. But I don't know exactly which part or entire Kerala or not. I don't know. Okay. Brahmanas, yes, okay. So again, today, these verses are just for our information of who these avatars are. In very brief, we will read details about them, and we'll learn, how to apply their examples in our lives and everything. So right now, it's not very philosophical. It's just informational, right? So sometimes Bhagavatam can be just informational, and we'll just going through these verses. But please know that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely purifying. So even though it might not be that we're going through a lot of analysis and a lot of practical philosophy, but just hearing this is also very purifying. So see it that way. Don't get bored. Somebody can read text 21.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I read?
Please.
Canto 1, chapter 3, text 21. Tatah सप्तदशे जातः सत्यवत्यां पराशराम् चक्रिवेततरोः शाखाम् दृष्ट्वा पुंसोदपा मेधसः. Translation. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parasara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent.
Okay, so Vyasadeva. So understand this, Vyasadeva is also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when people question our Vedic authority, right? Oh, Vedas were just written by human beings. No, 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 no. Vedas were not written by human beings. Vedas already existed in sound form. They were compiled by Vyasadeva, written down by Ganesha for the lesser intelligent people like ourselves for Kali Yuga, because we would not have the mental ability to capture it all in our memory. So we needed things to be written down so that we can have the knowledge going through generations. So it is God's word written by God's incarnation. Please understand that is the authenticity and authority of the Vedic literature. So even though people might say things like it's only humans who have created Hinduism, no, it's not. It's Apaurushaya. The Vedic system is called Apaurushaya, which means it's not man-made. It is God-made. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranita. Dharma is something that is given by Bhagavan. I wished Hare Krishna to someone with the same name, I guess. Okay. Not clear what that means. Okay. Vyasadeva. Satyavati through Parashara Muni. Yes. Okay. So we talked about Vyasadeva. Now, next verse. Somebody wants to read? Text 22.
Text 22. Naradevatmam apanaha surakarya chikisayam samudra nighadini chakre viryanyataha param. Translation. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist King Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea.
So we're hearing about Lord Ramachandra, and again, Srimad Bhagavatam describes a great deal about Lord Rama. And those of you interested can always read Ramayana. But there's nothing I can speak about Lord Ramachandra. We all know enough about him. Well, we don't know enough, but there's never you can know enough about the Lord. But I think he's familiar enough that I'm not describing too much details here. Moving on to 23. Somebody wants to read?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, Yogesh Prabhu.
So Prabhuji, there are infinite number of avatars or incarnations of the Lord. So on what basis are the 10 classified or categorized as the most important ones?
That also we will be learning, and we discussed this last week. But basically, there are Leela Avataras, there are Purusha Avataras, there are Shaktavesha Avataras. So avatars of the Lord are as many as there are waves on the ocean, it is said in the scriptures. So the Lord is so eager to have us back that he comes in many, many different forms, right? And even Srila Prabhupada is defined as Shaktivesha Avatar, because Shaktivesha Avatar means the Jiva who's empowered by a certain power, like Prithu Maharaj or Buddha or Parashuram. They're all Shaktivesha avatars, right? Leela avatar, Purusha avatar, these are actually the personality of Godhead himself, like Lord Ramachandra or Balaram, etc. Yes, Praveen Prabhu. Yogesh Prabhu, does that answer your question? We'll get
Yes,
into the
Prabhuji.
details of it, but these
Yeah.
are the classifications.
Yeah.
So the 10 ones are the primary ones, which are the not Shaktivesh. Well, they are Leela avatars. So they have done pastimes that help us, help human society to follow how to lead life.
Understood, Prabhuji. Just one more follow-up question. What classifies, what is the example of a Purusha Avatara and what does that exactly mean? How is it different from the Leela Avatara?
We'll get into the technicalities.
Sure, Prabhuji.
My understanding is Purusha Avatara are, so Krishna, he expands to Balaram, Balaram expands to Shankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, etc. And then there are these avatars who are the Purusha avatars. Then there are the Leela avatars who are like Lord Ramachandra and Lord Nrsingadev, right? Who are doing different pastimes for which they're known, right? And those pastimes attract a heart. Like, oh, the Lord is so protective as Nrsingadev. Oh, the Lord is so attractive. Oh, the Lord, he is so loving. He's so this. So different Leela avatars, with their Leelas, they're attracting our hearts. The Purusha avatars are the personality of God himself, not different, right? And that's my understanding, but we'll get the details as we go through Srimad Bhagavatam.
Understood, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Praveen Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Lord Rama is not in. Lord is not Krishna himself, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Just like
yes, he is Krishna
or
himself.
it's, okay, because incarnation is not the same as that of a Krishna, right?
Avatara means who comes down. Incarnation doesn't necessarily mean, so there is expansion and there's incarnation, right? But every expansion of the Lord also has to incarnate. They have to come down to the material world. They are coming down to the material world, to Bhu Mandala. So that's why they call avatars. That doesn't necessarily mean they are not the Lord himself. Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Lord, Nrsingadev, non-different from each other. Absolutely. There's no question. Having said that, there is simultaneous difference. What is that simultaneous difference? The Brahma Samhita describes that just like if you have lamps, one lamp can light the other lamp, can light the other lamp, can light the other lamp. All the lamps have the same level of luminosity. But there is an original lamp that lit up the other lamps. And that original lamp is Govinda Madhipurusham Tabaham Bhajavi. The original personality of Godhead is Krishna himself, who has expanded into Lord Ramachandra, Nrsingadev, and others. And that original personality of Godhead is also the most accessible, where from birth till his leaving the planet, every detail is present. Whereas, for example, Lord Ramachandra, his childhood pastimes are more private. Lord Nrsingadev doesn't have childhood pastimes. He came out of the pillar, right? So the original personality of Godhead has more accessibility, but it's non-different. They're absolutely non-different. And my mentor, one of the things he has been doing for the last several years is studying Ramayana and connecting Krishna Leela and Ram Leela very beautifully of the continuum that, from Ram Leela to Krishna Leela, how it goes. And like, for example, the person who started the rumor about Sita Devi, that she is not chaste. Oh, she was with Ravan for a whole year. Who knows what she has done? How can Lord Ramachandra accept her back? This is not right. That person, now during Ram Leela, he couldn't do much because, as a king, if you kill the person or punish the person who is a whistleblower, who's pointing out that there is something wrong, then other people get afraid of, bringing out issues to the king. So as Lord Ramachandra, he had to tolerate that and put Sita Devi through that Agni Pariksha. But when Krishna came, that same personality became the Dhobi. As Krishna was going to meet Kamsa, this Dhobi was carrying Kamsa's clothes, the royal clothes. And Krishna said, give me the clothes. I want to wear royal clothes as I'm going to the royal arena. And the Dhobi said, no way. These belong to the great king Kamsa. And Krishna had his pent-up anger from Lord Ramachandra's time, right? So he just took his own hand, with his hand, he cut off his head. No questions, nothing, no arguments, cut off his head. Because there was pent-up anger from that. You question Sita Devi's character, you nonsense. So here you go. So like that, if you see, there's a lot of continuum. So it's the same personality. In fact, Krishna, in Krishna Leela, he tells Radharani, do you know, in a few last yuga, I was Lord Ramachandra. She's like, you, Lord Ramachandra, he had Ekapatni Vrata. Look at you, always flirting with the girls. I don't believe you. Prove it. He built a whole bridge to Lanka. Can you build a bridge across this little river Yamuna? And Krishna was like, watch me do it. And Krishna had to prove it to Radharani, right? And he and the monkeys and everyone, they created the whole bridge with stones and everything. Still, Radharani was not convinced. Anyway, point is, Krishna had to prove, but Krishna was very much talking about Lord Ramachandra's pastimes and saying, I was that. But you guys don't believe me. What do I do? Anyway, so yes, very much the same personality. Unlike Buddha or Parashuram, who are jivas who have been empowered as Shaktivesha avatars, Lord Ramachandra is same as Lord Krishna.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. 23 done. Next one, right? Oh, no. We have come to the... Okay. Have you read this one, 23? In the 19th, 20th?
No.
No. Okay, please go ahead, read.
एकोनविंशे विंशति में वृनिषु प्राप्य जन्मनि रामकृष्ण वित्ति भुवो भगवान अहरन भरम. In the 19th and 20th incarnations, the Lord advented himself as Lord Balarama and Lord Krishna in the family of Vrishni, the Yadu dynasty, and by so doing, he removed the burden of the world.
Okay, so here we talk about Balaram and Krishna as incarnations. Keep going.
ततः कलौ सम्प्रवृत्ते सम्मोहया सुरद्वेषम् बुद्धूनां नाञ्जनसुतः किकतेषु भविष्यति. Then in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist.
So if you see, the tense changed from... so it's now future tense, because Srimad Bhagavatam was written after Krishna's advent, but Buddha had not arrived yet. So it is being spoken in future tense that Buddha will appear in Gaya province. So as we know, he did appear. And again, there is archaeological proof and everything for it. Okay, 25.
अथ संयोगसन्धयं दस्यु प्राप्येषु राजसु जनिता विष्णु यशाससो नाम्ना Kalki Jagatpatiha. Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasa. In this time, almost all the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers.
The end of Kali Yuga, beginning of Satya Yuga. This is the worst time, and Kalki Avatar would come as the son of Vishnu Yasha. And at this time, all rulers, anyway, most rulers have become degenerated to plunderers, but more so of Kali Yuga would look like that. It would be horrible time. I hope none of us are in the material world by then. We have the golden period of 10,000 years by which we can go back home, back to Godhead. But when this time comes, 427,000 years, 427,000 years from now, 427,000 years from now, this would be what it is said. That would be a horrible, horrible time to live. And Kali Yuga and Kalki Avatar will not be showing much of a compassionate side. It would be more of just kill and clean, right? Just get them out. And new Satya Yuga would come into being. Okay.
Avatara hai. No? Should we continue?
Please.
Okay.
Prabhu, I had a question.
Let's just finish this verse, please.
Okay, Prabhu, sure.
26. Avatara hai asankhya hare sattva nidhe dvijaha yatha vidhasinah kulyaha sarasah syu sarasrasaha. O Brahmanas, the incarnation of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water.
So just like there are in Sundarbans, we know, right? The Ganga becomes tributaries, and there are so many tributaries flowing into the water. Same way, very beautifully, poetically, it's described this way, that incarnations of the Lord are like that, rivulets. Okay, we'll pause here at 26. And yes, Prayash, we'll end with your question.
Prabhu, when Leela happens, right, and the person who gets killed by Krishna gets liberated, right? So in terms of Kali Yuga, would all these souls get liberated when they get killed by Krishna, or would they get into Susuti stage and then take rebirth again?
No. Those who get, are you asking what happens to those who get killed by Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu. In Kali Yuga end.
Oh, in Kali Yuga, when Kalki Avatar kills them?
Yes, Prabhu.
Generally, when the Supreme Lord kills anyone, they get liberation in the Brahma Jyoti. They don't get Shushupti stage or anything like that. They get into Brahma Jyoti. That's it. So Brahma Jyoti is filled with demons. Sorry. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Ex-demons. They're no more demons because they're touched by Krishna, so they're purified. But yeah, it was a joke, but it is also scripturally true. Hare Krishna. See you next Friday.